Good morning, everyone. On this lovely Sunday morning, 25 degrees centigrade, I really want to talk about a very, very important topic, and that's called luck. Do you guys actually believe in luck? I've heard a lot about luck, right? The harder you work, the stronger your luck becomes, and so on and so forth. But you've got to stay with me as I have a different perspective about it, and let's talk as we ride. So today I want to talk about two siblings, luck and risk, and their invisible hands. Stay tuned, it's going to be interesting. Oh, I got some nice riders riding today. A gentleman's ride, I don't know. Suited, booted. But anyways, I'm not going to drift away from our topic, so stay with me. Let me just cut through the traffic. As I ride through these familiar streets with my helmet on, mind wandering, I keep thinking about something most of us don't like to admit. We love stories of success. We worship self-made legends. We say, he worked hard, she deserved it, they earned it. But what if I told you that behind every grand success, there is a silent partner no one talks about? Two silent partners actually. Luck and risk. They are siblings. Twins in fact, same DNA, same power. One lifts you to the skies, the other can quietly pull you down. And the best example of this is Bill Gates. Yes, Mr. Gates. Imagine this. Out of 303 million age students in the world, only 300 get to attend one particular school, a private school in Seattle called Lakeside. And that school, by a strange twist of fate, had a computer at a time when most universities didn't have. A visionary teacher somehow convinced parents to spend money from rummage sale to buy a computer at that point in time. Not a playground equipment, not a sports gear, but a computer. Now pause and think, what are the chances of a random teenager in the world landing in that school at that time with that opportunity? I would think it's 1 in a million. And that teenager, ladies and gentlemen, was Bill Gates. Not because he chose perfectly, not because of some master plan, but because the lottery of geography, family, money, and timing placed him there. While most kids were playing outside, Bill was sitting in front of the strange glowing machine, typing commands, experimenting, or also staying late, skipping a lunch also at times, and he was completely obsessed with this new equipment. Fast forward, Microsoft becomes a $1 trillion empire. And the world says, genius, visionary, hard worker. All of that is absolutely true of Bill Gates, but also true is this: without Lakeside, there would not have been a Bill Gates or a Microsoft. That's not my opinion, guys. That's Bill Gates' own admission. This story reminds me of something from my own corporate life. Back in my previous assignment, I saw two officers join the bank branch, both at the same time, same qualifications, same sincerity, same effort, but one got posted under a visionary branch manager who mentored him, groomed him, exposed him to leadership roles. The other, he served under someone who barely noticed his existence. Now, 10 years later, their careers looked nothing alike, trust me. Skill was similar, effort was similar, it was the environment entirely different. Behind every great man, there are untold stories, and behind Bill Gates, there was an untold story, and he was called Kent Evans. Best friend, equal talent, possibly even smarter. They dreamed together, they planned together, also saw how they could create impact together. They could become CEOs, they were looking at themselves as CEOs, leaders, game changers, and that's the kind of vision they were having. They even built a computer program to solve their school's scheduling chaos as teenagers. Kent had the ambition, the mindset, the brilliance. He could have stood alongside Gates and Paul Allen at Microsoft's founding, but fate actually had other plans. Sad, Kent died in a mountaineering accident before graduating the high school. Kent, who could have been Microsoft's co-founder, was erased from history because risk decided so. 1 in a million risk again. Same magnitude, opposite direction. On one side, $1 billion luck, other silent tragedy. And that's when you realize, guys and girls, life is not a straight line of effort and reward. It's a chaotic game of invisible forces. So here is the brutal truth. We don't control outcomes as much as we think we do. So you can prepare endlessly for an exam that's coming up and still fail because the paper was terribly tough. Someone can make a foolish investment and still strike gold because the market turned in their favor. We live in a world of moving parts, unknown variables, and also unseen dynamics. 7 billion players, guys, on this planet who are playing the same chessboard. And often, the move that changes your life was not made by you. See, the illusion of control. We love simple stories. We say, he succeeded because he worked hard. She failed because she didn't try. But the reality actually is much messier, more complex, and more chaotic. So you invest in a stock, it fails. Was it a bad choice? Or were you just unlucky in a good gamble? You reject an offer like Mark Zuckerberg, with Yahoo. So it requires a deeper pause. Now, this is where illusion of intelligence versus the reality of timing becomes painfully obvious. See, Mark was a brilliant guy, truly brilliant, a gifted coder, a great visionary, and a great thinker. See, when he built Facebook, it was still a raw idea, a social networking experiment inside Harvard. And when Yahoo offered to buy Facebook for around $1 billion, Mark then sat down with his advisors, mentors, and investors to evaluate this particular deal. Everyone had opinions, logical ones, safe ones, and you know how people are, right? Some said, take the deal, Mark. It's a $1 billion is life-changing money. No one can say it's to Yahoo because Yahoo was a giant at that point in time. And from a pure business logic angle, they were right. Yahoo was a giant. Facebook was still fragile. Servers were crashing. Growth was unpredictable. And there was no guarantee that people would continue using it once the novelty fades away. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Mark didn't refuse because he had perfect master plan. He refused because he felt something. Sometimes we feel the gut feeling, a gut instinct maybe, or it could be even his stubbornness. He didn't fully know what Facebook would actually become. All that he knew, it was not done yet. Now pause for a minute and think. If Facebook had failed after rejecting Yahoo, history would have labeled Mark as arrogant, foolish, and overconfident, not visionary anymore. Just another tech guy who let ego kill the opportunity. Today, because Facebook became a multi-billion-dollar empire, we call him a genius. Same decision, two possible timelines. Only result decides how you label them. Where luck quietly enters the room, guys and girls. The market conditions, the timing, the explosion of smartphones, the sudden cultural shift towards digital identity. See, none of these were fully under Mark's control. He didn't just ride skill, he also rode a perfect wave. So when someone tells you, be bold like Mark Zuckerberg, remember this. For every Mark who succeeded, there are hundreds who made identical bold decisions and disappeared into silence. That's the hard truth. The difference? Not just intelligence, not just courage, but timing, environment, and luck. And that's the part no motivational poster likes to admit. So what's the rule then? There isn't one. Only hindsight pretending to be wisdom. So what's the lesson here? Be bold or be cautious? We don't know. Hindsight is a biased storyteller. What we label as genius or stupidity often just success or failure wearing different masks of luck and risk. I once knew a man who invested heavily in real estate just before the market boom. Everyone called him a financial genius. Years later, another man, invested the same way, but the market froze. He was labeled as irresponsible. Now, same strategy, guys and girls, but different timing. And you could call it hero versus fool. Only because luck changed seats that day, one of them won and the other lost. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. See, we don't like attributing success to luck. It sounds insulting, maybe jealous and petty maybe. But we also hate admitting our failures might simply be bad luck, because that makes us feel powerless. So what do? We create simple stories and convenient stories. So here is how it goes. He succeeded because he deserved it, and I failed because I'm not good enough. Reality is far messier than that, guys and girls. So Bill Gates once said, success is a lousy teacher. Why? Because success whispers you're unbeatable, and failure shouts and screams saying you're incompetent. Both can mislead you. The real wisdom lies somewhere in between. So where do we do with this truth? Two powerful lessons. First, when life is going great, don't become arrogant. Acknowledge that some invisible hands respect risk just as much as you celebrate success. Second, when life punches you hard, don't destroy your self-worth. Sometimes you didn't fail, you just landed on the wrong side of probability. The goal is not to avoid risk, that's impossible. The goal is to survive, to stay afloat. Structure your life in such a way that one bad decision doesn't end the entire game. See, like riding a motorcycle with proper gear, you respect speed, but you brace for impact, you prepare for impact. As I ride here today, wind brushing my shoulders, engine hum beneath me, I realize something important. Life is not just about being talented, it's also about being aware. Aware that luck can lift you and that risk can humble you. And aware that the wisest rider isn't the fastest one for sure, but the one who knows when to accelerate, when to slow down, and when to simply respect the road. So the next time you see a wildly successful person, admire them, but remember Kent Evans or Kent Evans. And the next time you judge your own setbacks, be kind, because you might just be experiencing the mathematics of risk, not the failure of character. This road, just like life, is unpredictable, and that unpredictability, it doesn't weaken us, it humanizes us. This is not a story about Bill Gates, ladies and gentlemen. This is a story about every one of us riding between luck and risk and learning to respect both. That is the key. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring this vlog to an end. Take good care of yourselves and, if possible, someone else. I will see you in the next video with more value. For now, bye.